Are you struggling to get coaches to respond back to you by email or text, and then it's leaving you frustrated where you're not really getting any traction or any new leads to go to camps or get signed? If that's you, definitely stick around because we're gonna cover basically the tips and tricks to get more responses for coaches and increase the odds of you actually signing with a team. What's going on, guys? For those of you who are new here, my name is Braden and I'm the CEO and founder of 𝗂𝘂𝗶𝗴, and today we're going to be talking about how you can actually get more responses from coaches. And I'm not kidding when I say this, there are actually ways to get more responses and to get more opportunities and potentially sign with teams here. We're making this video here because I remember back when I played, honestly, I would when I was searching for a team, it was an absolute nightmare. It was chaos. Basically, I'd be reaching out to like maybe 20 or 30 coaches. I'd be getting like crickets for the most time. If the odd coach does respond, I'd forget to like save their contact information. Then it was a jumbled mess. I'd have to figure out who this was, decipher like, okay, who's David? Okay, this is the coach from, I think, this league or whatever. Then I respond back, get on a call with him. I mix up the team that they're from. Like when you're really reaching out to a lot of coaches, it can get very overwhelming. And a lot of times you can get crickets for the most part. So if you don't know what you're doing, it's pretty tough. If you don't know how to market with yourself, if you're not organized, it gets quite tough. So I'm making this video here to make it nice and easy for you guys so you stay organized, so you know how to communicate properly, and you increase your odds of getting responses, getting good interest, and then potentially signing with that team. Okay, so that's the whole point of this video here. That's what we're gonna break down for you guys. So if you're getting value from this video here, absolutely destroy that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell so you never miss another video moving forward. Let's dive right into how to communicate with coaches here. All right, key principle number one here. This is huge, and it's to keep information short, sweet, objective, and to the point. Okay, we don't want any long novels sending to coaches. They won't read it. They get hundreds of messages, like, you know, a day or per week, you know, depending on the coach and their level. They really don't want these long novels. They want information that's objective, to the point, so they say, okay, am I interested or not interested? So first key tip number one here is to keep it sharp and to the point. Second key tip here is to personalize the message. Okay, that doesn't mean making, again, a long novel saying how you want to play for the program, you've been in love for the program for 5 years, none of that, right? But keep it personalized, where you say, basically, you say the quick intro, who you are, and then you put a quick personalization. For example, say, hey coach, my name is so-and-so. I really like how you guys, you know, almost won the playoffs last year. I'd love to be a part of it this upcoming season. Boom, right there, quick sentence, personalized. It shows the coach that you actually watch their program, that you care about their program, and that you actually want to try and make their program. So it shows the interest, which in turn, typically coaches, when they see this, they will respond back more often at that point. Key principle number three is to include a highlight video. Now, I've seen some bad advice out there saying, oh, you don't need to send highlight videos anymore. Coaches just go on Insta, coaches just go on Hockey TV, whatever, and they watch your videos. True, they do go on Insta, they do go on Flow Hockey or Live Barn to watch your videos, but the highlight video is important because it's there right away for the coach to access. They don't have to go search anything. They just click play and go on it. And in the first 30 seconds or so, they can form an idea. Yes, am I interested in this guy or do I want to pass, right? They'll look at your elite prospects profile. They'll look at your highlight video. It'll take them like a minute to do that. And then they know, okay, do I want to respond? Am I interested or do I move on? Coaches really appreciate when you put the highlight video in there and it catches the coach's attention. It's really good for you as a player. If you include the highlight video, it can catch your attention and they can respond back to you. You will increase your number of responses if you put the highlight video in. Trust me on this one. All right, tip number four, and it kind of ties into the other tips that we mentioned before, but it's to only include the necessary info. And I'm going to tell you what that is right now. Okay, so first off, you say an intro with your name, right? Second thing, a personalized message of interest, like we mentioned a while ago, a quick sentence. Then you put your birth year, then you put your position and shot, then you put your current team and current league. If it's a text message, you stop here. Okay, you don't go into more details and all that stuff because a text message has to be short and sweet, not a huge novel, something really short and sweet that a coach sees, and then they decide from there if they want to pursue or not, respond back, call you, whatever it is. But short and sweet when it comes to a text message. If it's an email, you can put a little bit more info, such as the type of player you are, and this is, again, is a one-liner, one-sentence type of deal, not a huge novel, right? You can put your elite prospects link, your highlight video link, and then you can put your grades if it's applicable. So if you're applying to prep schools or to NCAA programs, whatever, at that point, it could be applicable to put the grades in. Now, this doesn't mean that you put your transcripts, that you put your resume, that you put everything in there. You know, it's really important, especially even the text message. Don't put the highlight video, don't put the EP link, right? If the coach wants it, they will ask for it, right? Typically, they can just search up your name anyways, but if it's a text message, really like less is more, and an email, you can put a little bit more, but not too much, right? And I know it sounds minimal and some people want to put their life story and all that stuff, but the coach doesn't really care unless they're interested in you. So the first thing you want to do is to capture attention is, you know, put the basic info, see if they're interested. If they want more, they're gonna ask at that point. So really important to keep this principle in mind. Tip number 5, that is to communicate through multiple means. So what I mean by this is if you send just emails, it limits your responses, right? If you're just trying to call all the time, you're gonna get on the coach's nerves. So typically this is the sequence that I follow with a standard, coach. If it's a coach I know really well or something like that, you can go straight to like a text or a phone call. But typically if it's a new coach that you don't know well, what I do first, you send an email, right? That's what I recommend to all my players, or that we do for advising them. You send a quick email, you introduce yourself, all that stuff, you send the info. And then if you don't hear anything for about 4 or 5 days or so, something around those lines, it's not hard cutoffs, but something around those lines, then what I do is I typically follow up with a text. Like we said before, we include the necessary info, just a little bit less. And then from there, if you don't hear something for another 2 or 3 days, you just send a quick follow-up text. Say, hey coach, I'm really interested, would love this opportunity. I'm just following up on this. Again, usually coaches will respond if you're a bit persistent with it, right? And they might give you a shot. They might just say we're full, whatever it is. But at that point, if they still don't respond, the last ditch effort that I typically do is I do a quick phone call. If they don't respond there, I leave a quick voicemail, with again, the necessary bare bones info to call you back. At that point, if there's no response, you got to take the hint, you move on. But typically, if you do this sequence, if you follow the steps that we included before, I would say probably, 60 to 70% of coaches will probably respond at that point. Even if they say they're full, whatever it is, at least you get a response at that point, right? And you know which team to kind of move on from and which team to target at that point. All right, now tip number 6 here, this is a pro tip, is to stay organized. Like I mentioned in the intro before, basically if you're texting too many coaches, you don't have the number, save the name, save whatever in your phone, it gets incredibly overwhelming, very disorganized, and then you don't know when you reached out to someone, whatever. So you need to have a nice system that keeps track of everything, right? You keep track of the coach contact info, when you reached out to them, what the response is, what the interest level is. And if you're not organized, it gets incredibly overwhelming. You won't know what to do, and it's just gonna be a jumbled mess. How we do it at AHA, basically we have a whole CRM, it's a fancy word saying, okay, here's the contact database that we have, the coach, the team, league, all that stuff, the contact info, email, cell phone, how, responsive they are, how interested they are in the player. We keep track of all that. And then we have a separate Google Sheet where we basically keep track of like, hey, when were these teams contacted for our clients? When did they respond? What's their level of interest? So on and so forth, right? So we keep very organized here because that's what we do. But as a player, you should have something similar to this set up, okay? I know it takes work up front and it's annoying to input all this information and all that, but if you're really doing it yourself, it's really important to stay organized, or else leads will fall through the cracks, which could be, a team that you could have loved playing for that you just forgot to respond to, or you just didn't know the name and you messed it up, If that sounds overwhelming, I get that it is. That's what we do. You can contact us and we can do it all for you, but I get not everybody wants to do that. If you want to do it yourself, just make sure that you stay organized doing it. Now, last tip here, tip number 7 is probably the most important one. It's a principle that unfortunately is the truth, that the better you are as a player, the more that coaches will want you and the more responses you'll get, right? That's just the hard truth, that the best players get all the coaches wanting them, and then the worst players get no coaches wanting them. It's just the hard truth, and I have to be straight with you guys. So that said, invest in your development, right? Really make sure that you train, that you're the best that you can be, that you put like a bunch of money, effort, and time into all the resources that are going to give you the best return on your investment and the best results of developing you as a player, okay? Super important. Secondly, make sure you have great seasons, right? If you have a great elite prospects resume, it's going to be a lot easier to get responses from coaches, right? So have the best seasons possible every single year. And thirdly, when you go to showcases, when you go to tryouts, events, tournaments, whatever it is, make sure you stand out, right? Stand out at every single game you play in, every single practice, shift, whatever you can do, because you're going to have better development at that point and you're going to get noticed a lot more, right? So really important that you stand out. We made a whole video on this as to how to stand out and make the team at tryouts, so you can check up here. We just made it recently. All of that together will make you more attractive to coaches and you'll get way more responses naturally at that point. So hopefully we gave you a nice toolkit and set of principles here that you can follow to get more responses from coaches. If you want to keep watching videos similar to this, either check out this one or this one. If you forgot to hit that like button, definitely do. Hit that subscribe button and notification as well, so you never miss another video. You can also reach out to us if you have any questions or you need help contacting coaches as well. That being said, guys, thanks so much for watching. We'll catch you on that next one.